If you keep stealing my lunch at work, your stomach literally catching fire is a you problem, not mine. Today, we are telling the stories of people who tried to take advantage of others' goodwill, only to fall headfirst into the very traps they set. Pulled from the darkest corners of Reddit and Quora, these moments of instant karma will leave you feeling incredibly satisfied. Welcome to QRX Stories. Grab your coffee, because today's stories are literally pure fire. 1. Story: The Office Ghost. Pepper Incident. Our first story comes from r/petty revenge. We've all heard of someone getting their food stolen from the office fridge, but this user turned the situation into an absolute masterpiece. I work in the customer service department of a large corporate company. There are about 40 of us in the office. For the past month, my carefully prepped homemade lunches kept getting stolen from the fridge, even though my name was written on them in giant letters. At first I thought it was an accident, but 3, 4, 5 times, someone was literally using me as their free meal ticket. I complained to HR, but they said there are no cameras. We can't do anything without proof. Instead of just accepting defeat and ordering takeout, I decided to turn the tables. I am someone who absolutely loves spicy food, but I'm not talking about normal hot sauce. I love ghost pepper sauce, which is one of the hottest peppers in the world, sitting right at the top of the Scoville scale. On Tuesday night, I prepped a delicious-looking, extra saucy chicken dish, but into that sauce, I generously mixed in my famous tear-inducing ghost pepper hot sauce. For me, it was going to be a sweaty but enjoyable lunch. On Wednesday morning, I put the container in the fridge, as usual, with my name right on top. Then I went to my desk and waited. It's 12:15 p.m. Right in the middle of our lunch break, suddenly a horrifying coughing and gagging sound came from the kitchen area, like someone was choking. Everyone rushed in. When I walked through the door, Kevin, our arrogant team leader who belittles everyone's work at every opportunity, was on his knees by the sink. His face was beet red, and he was desperately gulping water straight from the faucet, and sitting right there on the table was my half-eaten lunch container. Kevin stood up, gasping for air, saw me, pointed his finger and screamed, "Are you trying to poison me? What did you put in this food? We're going to HR. I'm getting you fired." The entire office froze. The HR manager quickly rushed into the kitchen. Kevin was accusing me of poisoning his food. The HR manager turned to me and asked, "Is this true?" I just smiled. Without saying a single word, I picked up Kevin's fork, took a massive bite of that hellfire sauce chicken, and calmly chewed and swallowed it while everyone watched in total shock. I turned to the HR manager and said, "I like spicy food. This is my own lunch. It has my name written right on it. The real question is, why is our team leader stealing my food?" Kevin was literally crying from the heat and completely sinking into the floor out of embarrassment. The poisoning accusation was dropped instantly. But because it was proven in front of everyone that he had been stealing employee lunches for weeks, Kevin was fired the very next day. Nobody has touched a single thing of mine in the fridge since. 2. Story: The Fake Job Interview Perfect. Now we move over to the pro-revenge subreddit for a digital mind game that exposes the dark side of the corporate world. This story is a massive lesson for companies trying to get your hard work for free. I am a freelance digital marketing and SEO specialist. Last year, a mid-sized e-commerce brand called me in to interview for a marketing director position. The first 2 interviews went great, but in the third interview, they gave me a weird test. They said, "Before we hire you, we want you to audit our entire website's SEO structure, analyze our ad campaigns, and provide a detailed action plan showing what you would fix." Now, let's be real. This wasn't a test. They were asking me for a comprehensive audit report, worth at least $3,000 on the market, completely for free. When I did some digging, I found out the company wasn't actually hiring anyone. They were just bringing in different experts every month and using this test excuse to get free consulting. I didn't get mad. I just smiled and gave them exactly what they wanted. While auditing their system, I found a massive, critical error. A piece of code in their website's backend was completely blocking Google from indexing their new product pages, meaning nobody could find thousands of dollars worth of their new inventory. In that free report I gave them, I provided some great strategies. I gave them step-by-step instructions on how to increase traffic. But I didn't mention a single word about that massive critical back-end error. I even suggested they do a code cleanup to increase their site speed. I submitted the report. As expected, they sent me a standard email saying, "We've decided to move forward with another candidate, thank you." So I just moved on with my life. Exactly 3 weeks later, my phone rang. It was the CEO of that company. He sounded incredibly panicked. They had their own developers follow the steps in my report perfectly, but because of that critical error I didn't mention, while doing the code cleanup, they accidentally wiped their entire Google index. Their sales had dropped by 80%, and they were in total panic mode. The CEO was begging me, saying, "Please come consult for us, we need to fix this." Keeping my voice as professional as possible, I replied, "I would love to help. My emergency crisis management consulting fee is $500 an hour, and I require a 10-hour minimum payment up front." They were so desperate, they wired $5,000 into my account within 10 minutes. It took me exactly 15 minutes to fix that little piece of code I left out. They fell into their own trap and had to pay me an absolute fortune for the information they tried to get for free. Third story: the stolen phone, and our final story for today. Proof that sometimes justice doesn't come from the law, but from pure, brilliantly played psychological warfare. I was a senior in college, and my phone containing all my thesis data got stolen right out of my pocket on the bus. The moment I realized it, my blood ran cold. I ran home and immediately opened the Find My Phone app on my laptop. Luckily, the phone was still on, and the signal was coming from an old apartment building on the other side of the city. I called the cops, but they told me, "The signal only points to an apartment building. We can't get a search warrant without pinpointing the exact unit." I was desperate, but then I got a dark idea. I was going to get that phone back, and I was going to make the thief deliver it to me with his own hands. I put my device into lost mode. This mode allows you to lock a custom message onto the phone screen. I typed my first message. "I know you stole the phone. The GPS signal is pinpointing your apartment number. You have 10 minutes. I also turned the volume all the way up and started playing that piercing ping alert sound. He couldn't turn the sound off. I waited 5 minutes. I looked at the map. The signal wasn't moving, so I turned up the heat. Second message: "Accessing the security camera footage at the apartment entrance now. Your face is clearly visible. I'm on the way with the cops. 5 minutes left." Obviously, I hadn't hacked any cameras. I was completely bluffing. I could just imagine the thief's panic in that moment. He was holding a digital hand grenade that wouldn't stop ringing and kept telling him he was being tracked every second. For my third and final message, I wrote, "The police just pulled into your street. If you don't want to go to jail, drop the phone at the kiosk across the street and run. Otherwise, we are breaking your door down." I was glued to the map, and suddenly, the signal started moving. It left the apartment, crossed the street, and stopped exactly at the kiosk on the corner I mentioned. I hopped in a taxi and went straight there. When I walked in, the cashier gave me a weird look. He said, "Some guy in a hoodie, completely drenched in sweat, just ran in here, threw this phone on the counter, and ran away without saying a word." Sitting right there on the counter was my phone. My last message was still glowing on the screen. I might not have caught the thief, but I gifted him a movie-level panic attack he will never forget for the rest of his life. Sometimes the sweetest revenge is letting the other person orchestrate their own downfall through sheer panic. How would you have reacted to the team leader stealing your lunch or the guy stealing your phone? Let's talk about it in the comments. If you enjoyed these brilliant solutions, click the next video on your screen right now, where things get way more out of control. Don't forget to like and subscribe to QRX Stories. I will see you in the next story.